Okay, so the question is, since the pandemic hit, JLPT tests were cancelled in a lot of places. So the question should I skip N5 and attempt N4 directly? So all of you have never attempted JLPT, so you don't have an idea of what all questions are going to come up and whether you're ready for N4 or whether you should go for N5 because you might not clear N5, or you're not sure whether you'll clear N5, right? So you've all been learning Japanese for about a year now. So I'll first uh, take you through the different parts of the JLPT, the Japanese language proficiency test. Then talk about the sections that are there and the time distribution for each, and the JLPT N5 sample questions. We'll go through the whole sample questions that are available on the JLPT website. Yeah. So the first thing, you all know that N5 is the easiest and N1 is the difficult one. That's the order. And the exam is divided into three sections. As you can see here, the green one, which is language knowledge. This is where your words, kanji, come up. And then the second one is reading. And the third one is listening. Okay. So if you look at the top left, you have the number of points that are there and the overall pass marks for each section. So you can see language knowledge, the sectional pass mark is 38, and for listening it's 19. So there is an overall pass mark for N5, it is 80 points, and then there is a sectional cutoff as well. So if you don't have more than 38 marks in or 38 points in language knowledge, which is vocabulary, grammar, and reading, you won't pass the exam. Similarly, for listening, if you don't have more than if you don't have 19 or more than 19, even if the overall pass mark is or beyond 80, you won't pass. So there's a cutoff within each section as well. And the timing for each section is given here. There's a slight change in N5 and N4 that is given in red here. You can go through it. Later. Yeah. Okay. Now, the JLPT website has sample tests for N5, N4, N3, N2, and N1. We're going to go through the sample test for N5. Okay. So just hold on. Okay. So yeah, so this is the recording of the N5 exam that I took. So just hold on here. So as you can see here, there are 14 questions here, each representing the category of questions that come up in N5. This is the same for N4 as well. The first section is vocabulary. The second one, you can see grammar and reading. And the third one is listening here. Okay. So we'll start with the first one. The first question is about finding the right kanji. So you don't have to write it, but you have to find the correct reading of it. The second question is changing the hiragana into the correct katakana or kanji. So here is hoteru. The third one is you've looked at the image here and then choose the right word. So understand the context and choose the right word. So this is not grammar. This is about choosing the right word based on the context. The fourth one is paraphrasing. So finding a similar expression to the one that is underlined here. So here you'll see me choosing shigoto shitemasu, which is a similar way of saying it. Now we are into grammar. So choosing the right, so we're seeing whether you know the right particle. So it could be a verb, they form as well. This is about whether you're able to compose a whole text, a sentence. So what will come in the place of the star? So if you're able to compose that whole sentence, you'll be able to figure out. The third one here is about the reading a slightly long text, and then whether you're able to understand the grammar here of a text. So till now you only had composing one sentence. Now you're reading a text and then figuring out the meaning of the text there. Okay, so within this passage, I have to now figure out what will come in this rectangle, the red rectangle, right? So I have to understand the whole text in order to understand what will fit here. So I've chosen this, and then we'll move on to the next one. Now, reading, there are three types of questions in reading in N5 and N4. One is a short passage, and then slightly longer than that, and then a medium-sized text. For N3 and above, there are lengthier texts, but for N5 and N4, you only have three types of text: short, medium size, and slightly longer than that. So it's the same thing for this thing as well. So if you have in this mock test, if you have an image, you can click on the image, and then you'll get a bigger one in case you can't see the image properly. This is obviously for the mock test only. Yeah, so chosen the answer. So we move on to the next one. This is listening. So there are four types of questions in the listening section. Quite similar. 11 and 12 are similar. 13 and 14 are similar, but there's a small difference. And now, this 11th type of question, or the first type of question in listening, is basically whether you're able to solve a particular task here. The process is actually written over here. It's in Japanese, so I'll just quickly translate this. So you will first listen to the explanation and the question. Okay. Then listen to the whole audio. And then the question is asked again. So you listen to the explanation and the question first. Then you listen to the tape. And then the question is again asked. And then you have to choose an answer. Okay. So we are in the next one. Now, in this one, the process is the same. This is very similar. 12 is very similar to 11. What is different in 12 is that there is a specific point that you have to pick up from the audio. So if you've already done this mock test, you will have an idea. Like they'll ask, who amongst this person is the younger sister? So you're just trying to figure out who the younger sister is. So you might have words which are slightly difficult. So your point is to sort of eliminate those words and then try and filter out the exact thing that they've asked for. They'll ask, who in this photo is the younger sister? So you can actually forget about the other sentences that are coming up and then just pick up the sentence which talks about the younger sister and then answer. Okay. Now we'll move on to the next one. This is the second last category of questions in listening. So here in this one, you will have an illustration. This arrow is the person whose reply we have to figure out. So this person will, so it could be a reply. It could also be the first sentence as well. So for example, in this particular one, you'll hear what the context is. The context here is this person wants to borrow this. I think it's a dictionary, and then it'll ask which is the appropriate thing to say when you want to borrow the book, and then they give you three options out of which you have to choose the right option. Okay, so this arrow, make sure that you see the arrow, and then you figure out who the person is, and then if you're supposed to if you want to borrow the dictionary, what is the best way to say that? Okay, so that is the second last one, and then moving on to the last one. The last one is, now this is quite quick. It's similar to the previous one, but the difference is that we are looking at the response to it. This is basically a reply to the sentence that is said before that. So the first sentence to which we have to reply, that first sentence is quite quick. So it could be a Ohayo gozaimasu, and what's the reply? Ohayo gozaimasu. It could be a question, and then what is the appropriate response to that? So most people, miss out on that first one because it's quite quick. And you have to remember, for listening for this first, second, and third, and fourth, there are multiple questions in each category, so you won't have time to go back and think about it. So it's important that you take notes, so that later if you want to go back to it and check, or you want to just go through it and figure out an answer, make sure you have notes, so that you can go back and let's say you are not sure between 2 and 3, you can then make a a, a, a sort of decent guess. You're done with this mock text, you'll be given the chart with how many questions you've gotten right, how many questions you've gotten wrong. If you see here, this first one, so if you click on the first one here, you can, I mean, it'll take you to the JLPT website, where there are questions where you can download the questions in the quest. So yeah, so as you can see here, you can download the question here, the questions for N5 here, and then once you're done, you can even see the answer sheet that is used. The answer sheet is slightly different. It's in since it's an MCQ, it's a multiple choice question format. You have an OMR sheet, so you'll have to fill these. Fill these. So you can see 1, 2, 3 here, right? So you're supposed to fill these circles. So you can try that out, take a printout, and then practice as well on the day of in preparation for the exam. Then apart from that, you have the answers to the whole thing as well, and the script of the listening question. Okay, this is one of the ways in which you can figure out whether you are ready for N4 or whether you want to start with N5.